From time to time I drag out my old computers and try out new operating systems on them. In doing so I found that one of my computers had a fault. I had to take out the motherboard eventually. First of all though, I did try changing the CMOS battery. It needed changing. Cleared the CMOS, reset all the BIOS settings, still no luck. This one RAM slot would not fire up. I took the RAM stick out, reseated it several times to clean the socket, no luck, it was still dead. I then tried reseating the CPU, no, socket was still dead. I swapped over the RAM sticks proved to be working fine in themselves, so it's not a RAM stick problem. Socket was still dead, so I need to find a fault on it. Now, I'm no expert when it comes to these sort of things, and however I do know that observation is the keynote to sort of fault finding, and this proved to be no exception, because once I got the board out of the computer, it took me about 1 minute to find the fault. Now I hope you'll join me as I try to repair the fault. I don't know whether I've got the necessary skills to do so. It should be quite amusing. When I first turned the board over, it had a little bubble in the solder mask. I just poked it and the bubble fell away and exposed track appeared underneath, and closer examination I found a small little crack in the PCB track. Now that track is wider than the data track, so I presume it's a power supply track to the RAM stick socket. I can't work like this with the camera in the way and doing this. I don't want to mess the job up, so we'll have to go to a broader view, and I'm going to carry on and try and fix it. First of all, I'm going to try and sort of protect the surrounding pins with solder mask to save any solder getting on and bridging anything. It's going to be a tricky job in itself. Knowing my luck, I'm going to end up getting this all over the place. Let's start somewhere easy. Let's start with this one. Yeah, not going to be easy. I don't want to dollop it on. You've got to admire the skills of these people that do it for a living. Oh, very, very clever. Yeah, now comes to the tricky ones. Right next to the track. I think I've covered them enough. Unfortunately, I don't have a UV light, so I shall have to leave this in the sunshine for a little while, if the sun is shining. And that'll help cure it off. I might even have to wait till tomorrow. Well, I've been out in the sunshine for a couple of hours, and I think the stuff has tacked off. Yep, it's tacked off nicely. I need to sort of clean that up a bit, if possible. And need something really sharp, like a little needle, I know, or a razor blade. Right, have I got a blade around anywhere? Well, the best I've got is a razor blade. I'm going to sort of scratch the surface if I can. The track is coming up, and I suspect that when we're finished we're going to have to put a small wire across there, maybe. The track actually came up as I did it, so right, that's scratched enough I think. I'm going to put a bit of flux on there. Well, first of all I've got to decide really what soldering iron chip is going to be best. I'm tempted between these two tips. I know it sounds daft using a tip that size when I've got a tip this size. I'm not too sure which one I'm going to try. I may be making life hard on myself with this one, but let me see. Yeah. I'd prefer to use that one. And no, I've got to use common sense tells me to use this one. Right, just change the tips on soldering iron. In comparison to other people, I've got my soldering iron tip at a fairly low temperature, which is about 260 degrees. The solder melts at 190. I don't want to do any more damage, so I'm trying to keep the heat down. I'll put a little bit of flux on, and in my opinion that's way too much. Let's dab a bit of that off. Okay, just going to clean the soldering iron. Here we go, baptism of fire. Yeah. Run out of distance on the soldering iron connections. A wee bit of tin on it, so we can get a bit more. On that one, yeah. Try the other side. Oh, it's infuriating. Got to move my soldering iron nearer to the work, and the reason I've got to move it nearer to the work is because we're filming. I'm putting more stress on myself. And guys, I've really not tried to repair anything this small, ever. It doesn't want to bridge. I was hoping it would bridge as a blob. Oh, sugar. No. Right, we need a fine wire now. Fine, indeed, fine. Right, let's pause while I find a fine wire. I've got a bit of fine wire here. Done. Oh God. The aim is to sort of just bridge it. I don't know whether I've done that. I'm coming with a pair of nips. Have I done it? I really don't know if I've done the job here. It's too small for me to see, even with the headset that I've got on. I haven't got any isopropanol to clean up the flux, and this will all have to wait now until tomorrow or whenever, and I'll come back and check it over and see what's going on. It's a little strand of wire I got from this piece of, bit of cable, very thin stranded cable. Most of us just sort of put our cutters in and flick off the insulation, but that does tend to damage the wire. Now my preferred method, I'm sorry if this is a bit out of focus, but my preferred method is to sort of, in tricky situations, is to sort of warm it up both sides, and then to sort of put my fingernail in there if I can get it in there. Yeah, just to prove the point it's not working. If at first there's still a little bit of plastic attached, come back with a gun, clean that, and there we go. Then get your little wires, and you've not damaged it where at the junction with the insulation. Might help a few people. I've cleaned off all the flux, and now I'm going to protect the little solder wire with a little bit more solder mask. Hopefully we've done our job properly, and that'll work. Currently I don't have a UV lamp, so I'll have to leave this in the sunshine for a little while, and then it'll be putting the computer back together. Right, it's time to put the board back in. It's just a straightforward plug in. I try to leave the screws, I'll take a board out, I try to leave them where I can find them. Oops. So that I don't lose them. I did lose one, which I dropped on the floor, never to be seen again. And everything here is a little bit chaotic at present. Ready to stuff the board in position. Let's get that. Well, everything is sort of lined up with the back plate where all the connectors come out of the back. That's okay. Now put the screws back. Now, although I think I've found a fault, in my opinion, that fault has always been there. It's not something that's just developed, so I think it's on the motherboard from the very word go. And just flexing the board when you're pushing in the RAM sticks probably broke it in the first instance. Well, both confusing. Right, save you watching me agonise over this and getting things in the right place. I'll pause the video here. Got Windows 11 64-bit, a 4-core CPU, 8GB of RAM. That's what I'm really interested in. It used to say 4GB, but now it says 8, so I've obviously fixed it. Motherboard, there's the details, Gigabit one. Got a cheap graphics card in there. The storage is the USB stick with the Ventoy on that I've got here plugged in at present. There's no hard drives plugged in. Well, there you go. I think that proved that the repair worked, so now I'm going to switch it off, take it all apart again, give it a good old dusting and clean it all up and put it all back together. But I'll do all that off camera because it's pretty boring.